What's up, y'all crazy people? It's the Double Chin Showtime. It's Mike Chin here.
Dan Chin here.
Today, my topic I'm bringing to the table is been a controversial topic for the last week. You guys know Adrian Peterson. He
Football player
for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
And he was recently suspended because allegations came out and pictures came out that he beat his little four-year-old son with a switch.
Yeah, which is like
tree
a
branch, basically.
stick. Yeah.
Right.
But he beat him to the point where on the photos, it's pretty badly injured.
Right. Even after a week, all the
Yeah.
injuries are still there. It's pretty bad.
Like,
So,
he didn't break his legs, but
Right.
that's pretty bad.
so the big debate now is, should you beat your kids?
Yeah. Well, there's a few debates going on. One is the way he pleaded guilty to hitting his kid, but he never used the word abused because in
Right.
his mind,
It's not abuse.
it's not abuse because it's corporal punishment.
Also because he grew up like that.
Correct. So now this is a funny thing, right? Me and you, we grew up in also a culture where it's widely accepted to beat your kids.
Yep.
Not just hit, but beat.
Yeah.
And if you guys watch a lot of our videos, we make jokes about how Chinese parents are like, come here, I'll beat you. It's true. Where do you think those jokes come from? I got beat when I was a kid.
Yep.
I got beat with objects when I was a kid.
Yep.
I got beat with whatever was lying around the house, and if there was nothing lying around the house, then it was like my dad's, open hand.
Yeah.
And he never used a fist on me,
Right.
but I got a lot of slaps.
Yeah. I got kicked. My dad was a soccer player in college, so he would kick me like a soccer ball.
Oh my gosh.
But I think for me, I never got slapped.
Yeah.
But I never got beat to
Like,
the
where
point
would he
where
kick you?
Kick me in the bum,
In the butt?
in the butt.
That's nothing, because the butt is the most cushioned
I
there
know,
is.
but how my mom would do it is my mom will either hit me, smack me with an object.
Yeah.
She'll
Like
she'll
where?
smack me on the hand.
On the
She'll
hand.
be like, stick out your hand,
All right.
and then I'll get clever and dodge her because I got mad
Yeah.
reflexes.
Yeah.
And then she'll be like, hold it up, bam,
Dude, and then when you
smack
dodged it,
you get double the
double.
beat. So then what she would do when I got a little older was she would pinch me. She would grab me, just pinch until
That's
until
weird,
chunk
man,
of my
'cause
flesh
pinching
about to fall off.
doesn't hurt that much.
It hurts when you're little.
Yeah.
When I got older, I was able to withstand pain more.
Yeah.
So I just to spite her, I'm like, doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt. So she was do it harder and harder. I'm like, doesn't hurt.
Well, when I got older, I was actually able to thwart my father's blows, like Kung Fu style.
Right.
I would literally be like, whoosh, and then whoosh, and then he's like, because I'm like 11.
Right.
And he's like, all right, this is not working. And then he stopped.
But I mean, okay, look.
Anyways, we're digressing.
Right. But
let's
there
go back.
are people in China, obviously, or anywhere else in the world that beat their kids to the point where it is considered abuse.
Yes, absolutely.
I think for me,
Probably worse than even what he did to his
right.
kid.
I think for me, I never grew up in an environment where I was abused like that.
Right.
I was never abused to the point where a week later there's still welts on my body.
Right.
Were
right.
you?
No, I wasn't. I mean, it sounds kind of bad, but me and you, we're not condoning what Adrian Peterson did. In fact, I go as far as to say, as even the way Chinese parents discipline their kids, I wouldn't do it. I think it's wrong the way they do it. I think that both the Chinese mentality and the African American mentality or whatever culture comes from where you use this type of discipline on your kid, to me is wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong to not discipline your kid. Like, you want to discipline your kid. In fact, I think that things like, I would draw the line. Like, I would say things like slapping their hand or slapping their bum. But also, I think that's okay. But also, I think that more importantly, you should follow it up with like mother and father scolding, trying to tell them what they did wrong. I mean, I'm not a parent, but I don't think that just blatant use of force is necessary.
Right. I mean, we're not parents, and probably trying to convey what parents should or should not be doing. I don't know.
Right.
To discipline anybody's kid, that's tough.
It's really tough.
I
It's really
can't
tough.
picture myself in that position where I had to do that.
Right.
But for me, I think the biggest question is, does beating your kids, does spanking your kids, does that work? Is that an effective means of punishment? I mean, because here's what you're trying to get out of this, right? You're trying to punish your kids so they behave and they become better. Are they going to become better by you inflicting fear and pain onto them? Because for us, like for me, I could do without the beating.
Right.
I think I'd be a better person without a beating, purely from the standpoint of I think it would my relationship with my parents would have been a lot better.
Right.
As with probably most Asian kids that got beat by their parents.
Yeah.
We don't say I love you much. Asians don't. And
it's hard to say I love you after you just got a huge whooping.
Right.
Like really hard.
And the thing is, like, the Asian parents instill a sense of fear onto the kids. Like, if you don't know what I say, I'm going to whoop you.
Yeah.
So we're always trained to fear and respect our parents. We're never like, kind of like, we never had the whole dose of medicine where our parents are coming up to us going, let's talk about this.
Right.
Let's reason about this. Why you did something wrong and why you're being punished in some way other than beating the crap out of you. And get the kid to understand what he or she did was wrong.
I mean, I never uttered these words to me in my adult life to myself. Man, I sure as heck glad that my parents beat me when I was a kid. No. Like you're saying, it didn't make me a better person.
Right.
It only taught me to fear them. All right, and like what you just said, that's look, we're not sitting here trying to tell parents what to do. That's not what we're doing. I would say at this point in my life right now, if I had a kid and they were, first of all, like, if they were doing something and they needed discipline, I would try to sit them down, talk to them. Now, a lot of parents out there are probably laughing because they're like, yeah, you try to do that with your kid. But you know what? I'm a little naive. I think that even from the get-go, I would try to raise my kids so they do less and less. Like, I don't want to have to be disciplining them all the time. If I am, there might be something wrong with me. This story is really interesting, right? Because most people in the media are like appalled.
Right.
Okay, of course, most people would be appalled. I'm appalled. I'm like, dude, you can't beat your kid like that. A lot of people, nobody is condoning what he did.
Right.
But I heard on the radio this morning a really, really interesting story. And when I find it, we could put the link on there. Guy in the New York Times wrote an article about how in the African American community, the reason that they beat their kids is not so much for the discipline, but because basically they fear that their children will be shot by a white policeman if their children didn't know how to basically act around them. So when they started acting up, they basically, like, they're saying it's better to get beaten by your dad than to get shot by a policeman. And this is, to me, we're getting really deep into the story, but I definitely think there is some relevancy to that. I could see this article talking about the relevancy of the article, saying they're not condoning it, but they're just giving you another wrinkle, which is, well, consider why still a lot of African Americans, especially in the South, does most of this type of child discipline.
I think, first of all, nobody should be shocked that this occurs around the world, because it does. Like, I think it's in China, this wouldn't even be much of a news because, okay, you beat your kid to the point where he or she may be bruising. Okay, that's not really news. That happens.
Right.
Here, of course, it's huge news.
It's funny that you mention that, because most of the people that are appalled by it, of course, are media members. Most of media members in America are Caucasian.
Right.
They're of the majority.
Right.
So of course they're appalled by it, because Caucasians don't beat the crap out of their kids.
Right. They never experienced this before.
But you know what minorities are saying? And not just blacks, but Asians and Hispanics in America. They're like, I mean, I know somebody that does it.
Yeah.
And I've done that before. Like, I mean, maybe not to that extent.
Yeah, obviously.
But
I think the extent of which he beat his kids, that's horrible. Like I said, I never got beat to the point where, like, I'm bruising for days.
Or bleeding.
Right.
I was never bleeding.
Like, that's going way too far. That is abuse, I feel.
That's definitely abuse.
If I grew up like that and my parents beat me to the point where I'm bleeding and bruising a week later, you know what? I'm going to grow up with some problems.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like,
I mean, no doubt about it. That, in my mind, that's 100% abuse.
So there's actually a line between spanking, disciplining your kids, and purely cross the line abuse. Right?
Absolutely.
I think for most Asians, or most people that beat their kids, discipline their kids physically, they don't go over the line. is usually like, spanking or something to the point.
I would say physically they don't go over the line, and we'll do another video on this, but definitely verbally they go over the line.
Right.
That's a whole nother story.
Right.
But
you know how this story also, like, if, again, let's say this story happened in China. Do you know in China, I was taught that there's a saying, right? 打是爱骂是亲, which is when I hit you, it's love.
Yeah.
When I scream at you, it's actually closeness. That's what kids are taught.
That's
by their
crazy.
Parents.
That's
It's
crazy.
like, hey, I love you. Smack. Yeah. That's how much I love you. Like,
you're an idiot. I love you.
Basically, it's a lot of mental warfare in China. If you ask kids in China, or you ask people that grew up to be my age, was it right for your parents to beat you? And a lot of them will give you the politically correct answer. They will say, yeah, I understand why they did it. They did it because they love me and they wanted me to do better.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? From the parents' perspective, that's actually what they're feeling like they're doing. It's like, I love you. I'm disciplining you to be better. Right. That's why I'm beating you. But what you're really doing is, first of all, you're scarring the kids.
Right.
Seriously, you are mentally, you're scarring the kids. Secondly, you're putting a lot of distance between you as the parents and the kids.
Right.
I feel so much because if the kids are fearing you all the time, sorry, that's why you don't get the I love yous later in life.
Right. And that's not something that I'm like, if a parent came up to me and they're like, Dan, like, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we do. Because we're 30 now and we went through this thing. So you're telling me that what I was feeling isn't correct? No, you better go check yourself. You're in denial. So if you think that screaming at your kid or hitting your kid is the way to go, I got surprises for you. You know what I mean? Like, that is just, to this day, like, how people can still think that is just crazy. I love to talk about this some more. We'll save, not this story, but basically the way that Asian parents raise their kids. Right. We found another video about like harsh words, the use of harsh words. So we'll save that for another time because I think that we have a choice right now. This is another interesting thing I heard about this. Every one of us has a choice. So me and Mike, in the future, when we're dads, hopefully we will break the chain of incompassion and be more compassionate. Like, we have the power to do that. So talking about it raises the awareness. So we'd love to hear also what you guys think. And for the parents out there, for the kids out there, let us know. All right, guys, so the article that I want to talk about happened last week. It's an episode of Paying It Forward. For those of you guys don't know what Paying It Forward means, is basically like like if I'm at a store, I go, I want to pay for the next guy's stuff.
Yes.
So it could be like at a retail store, cafe, or simply meaning you pay for someone else's thing. Like like if Mike needs medical bills and he doesn't have enough money, I could pay for it's like basically getting something for free.
Right, and it's meant to create a more positive environment. Obviously, if Dan does something nice for me, I want to do something nice for somebody else. So it's a chain of love. Yeah, essentially.
It fosters kind of this
humanity.
Emotion. Yeah,
basically.
So this was really nice in Texas last week at a Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. There was a gentleman who, by the name of John, went up to the window and gave $1,000 in 100s to the cashier and said, I will pay this, basically used the $1,000 to pay for everyone behind me.
Right.
So this had quite an impact. They were interviewing a lot of people and people were having bad days. And basically his explanation is it's Monday, people have bad days. So he wanted to do something nice and basically buy tons of people. That's a lot of Chick-fil-A. $1,000?
How much is a Chick-fil-A meal? Like $6?
I mean, it actually says, so he went in at 7 p.m. and it says that, well, anyways, I forget. It served 88 customers. So not as many as I thought. But in any case, I think this whole pay it forward thing is very interesting because in August, I was listening to the radio when I was driving, and they said in Florida, there's this very popular Starbucks where always there's this thing of paying it forward to the point where what started it was there was one time somebody bought coffee or whatever and basically said, I'll pay for the cashier said, your thing is paid for. Would you like to pay it forward? Meaning, would you like to then, pay for the next person? So he goes, yeah. And this phenomenon occurred for over 300 people until it was broken.
Yes.
Interesting, right? It created a social media buzz, a chain of 300 people paying it forward. So then not surely after that, this phenomenon started again. But then there's a guy, okay, by the name of Peter Schorster, and he basically deliberately stopped it.
Yes.
And he's been getting a lot of flack.
Right.
He has his reasons to do it.
Right.
Basically, he's saying this is not genuine.
Right.
Right? People are doing it out of guilt.
Right.
All right. How do you brings up a lot of questions. Like, I mean, you're getting something for free.
Right.
It's very easy to do when it comes to like a $4 drink.
Right.
So my question to you is, what do you think about the whole idea of paying it forward? Would you do it? And what do you think about this guy?
I love the idea of paying it forward, but I will say this. When it becomes a obligatory kind of thing,
right.
I start feeling less good about it.
I would have to agree with that.
Because here's the thing. I'm a big fan of country music.
Right, okay.
And there was a song, I forgot the name, I think it's called Chain of Love. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure.
You're about to get sappy on me now, aren't you?
And in the song, like I remember listening to the song when I was a teenager. It's about a lady. She had a flat tire.
Right.
And a guy came and changed her flat tire.
Okay.
And then he didn't ask for anything.
Right.
Like nothing at all. She offered him money. He's like, no, because she was driving a Benz and she was obviously rich. She went into a diner.
Right.
And the waitress was pregnant.
Okay.
And then,
wait, this is all in the lyrics of the song?
Yes, it's in the lyrics of the song. Okay. And the waitress was pregnant, and then she decided to do something nice for the waitress because someone did something really nice to her.
So she paid it forward.
Right. After the guy fixed her car, he gave her a note, basically saying, you don't owe me a thing, but just don't let the chain of love end with you. And then she gave the waitress $100 as a tip. Okay. And then wrote the same notes, like, don't let the chain of love stop with you.
Right.
And then she went home, and her husband was the guy that helped her change the tire in her car.
Oh, I like that.
So it's kind of like the
it's full circle.
It went full circle. Yeah. But it could have went much, it could have not went full circle, and could have just kept going.
But it's illustrating in a very small kind of universe that.
Well, you do something nice, something
eventually
nice
it's gonna come around.
Might happen to you.
Right.
But when you're part of this massive, obligatory, 1,000 people chain of thing where it's not you, okay, when is the thought of compassion and love really valuable? I think it's when it really comes from deep within your heart that you really want to do something out of your own will, not because somebody's like, well, you want to do it. And you're like, oh, all right, I guess everyone else is doing it. I guess I'll do it.
Yeah.
I don't really agree with him going over there to purposely stop it.
Yeah.
That's kind of a, kind of a move.
You might not agree with it. Like, I totally agree with you. I think it's contrived. I think it's forced. It completely loses the genuineness, which means that, I wouldn't care that much. But I wouldn't have gone over there and done it myself.
Right.
But I also like that he did it because not a lot of times in these days people are willing to stand up for what they believe in. And this guy clearly... And he wasn't being a total jerk. He actually he stopped it, but then he gave a tip of...
he gave a tip of $100.
Yeah, he gave a tip. So,
but here's the thing. Yeah. He's also a blogger.
Right.
So he could have done this purely for his own interest as well. He could have been like, I want to write a posting. I don't know if he did write a posting about it or not. But I'm sure he got some, he obviously got some attention because he did this thing. I think he was just being an arse.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it like that. But also, I love paying it forward. I love it. I think everyone, we should get into a situation. I hope, everyone at some point during your life, you get into a chain of love situation.
Yeah, definitely.
But you want to do it because of your own...
Yeah. Or you have the opportunity to do it.
Right. You should, if it made someone's day, if I've done something nice for someone and made their day, that's freaking awesome.
Right.
But I don't want to be part of this 1,000 people thing.
Like the other day, I've done this to other people before, just... Because, if I'm getting out of a parking spot and I have some time left, and somebody's pulling in, I go, hey, I got about 5-10 minutes. I don't know if you just need to run in, but feel free to take that. And they're like, oh, thanks. Sometimes they use it, sometimes they don't, but I don't think anything of it. And then yesterday, I'm pulling into a spot, and I'm only going to stay there for 5 minutes. And it's, in New York City, it's really annoying. You got to sit by the meter. Yep. You can even get a ticket within the time.
Sure.
But then this really nice guy did the same thing to me, and it felt really good.
Yep.
And I didn't want, and I just remember it's not like...
Don't let the chain of love.
Yeah. But after that, I wasn't like...
with you.
I wasn't like, no, it's going to end with that song. Oh my God. But afterwards, I wasn't like, oh, I better go do something nice, because it was genuine, that guy genuinely was like, hey, Here's my ticket. We've got about 10 minutes left on it. Thank you very much.
Right.
You know, and but in any case, so I definitely agree with Peter here. I think that when I heard the story on the radio, they were debating, again, Peter, you know, if Peter was an arse or not. And I'm thinking, you know what? The whole pay it forward thing at Starbucks is completely the stupidest thing ever. It's the stupidest thing ever. Seriously. Because people are like, yeah, I mean, first of all, it's just like, yeah, sure. People are like, you want to pay the other person behind you? So you're standing there. You're like, if I say no, then people are thinking I'm an arse. But if I say yeah, I'm only doing it to not look like an arse. So it completely destroys all of the meaning, all the good feelings and generosity that that original person was trying to do. It becomes a social media phenomenon, and when it becomes that, it's all sensational.
Well, let us know what you guys think about that topic in the comments below. That's it for our show today. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See ya later.
Peace.